What up?
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
What's up? I'm good. How are you?
Good. What are you shooting for?
I was shooting for my own photography stuff. I was shooting with a friend downtown.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Fun.
it was a good time. We got some good stuff, I think. You never know, really.
Bro. I don't
Okay,
know.
long hair.
Huh?
Long hair. Love that.
You gotta like tie it up.
It looks good. I like it.
Thank you. I don't know if Larry's coming here or he's just jumping on.
Okay.
Um, but this is the first time we're doing it on Zoom
Work.
because we're having issues with IG Live. It kept like, oh, there's Larry. Sweet. Um, yeah, it kept being weird in our IG because around the 45-minute mark, it would give you a message saying that we're doing it too often. And I was like, what?
Who says, right?
Yeah. And then it says, tell us if we're wrong or whatever. Larry.
Dude, sorry. I accidentally hit quit.
Hey,
Spencer,
Larry.
what's up, my friend?
What's up? Not much. How are you?
Okay, I'm okay. I
Good.
Hoku or Chanel is leaving. I was trying to get her to join us, but she's actually leaving to do work stuff. I was like, come on, you gotta see Spencer, but we'll get her sometime.
For sure. For sure.
Where are you at right now? Oh, Brent, are you recording or you setting
I
up?
am recording.
Oh, sick. What are you in New York City or where are you at?
Yeah, I'm in Harlem, in Manhattan, in New York City right now, in my apartment.
Nice. Got the fiddle leaf
Nice.
action.
Yeah, I was like, gotta bring some of the island life into the room, you know?
Yes, sir.
Got to.
And were you born here in Hawaii?
No, I was actually born in California, and then my parents, because my dad was in the military, we moved to Japan until I was in the first grade, and
Wow.
then we moved to Hawaii.
Wow. You were in Japan.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's cool.
that was cool. Yeah, it was
So
pretty cool.
so how old were you when you came to Hawaii?
I was in the second grade. How old are you when you're in the second grade?
Second grade is 5, 6, 7. You're 7.
7.
Yeah, around 7.
Wow. Wow. That's cool. In which part of the island did you move to? Military? So Kaneohe?
We moved right to Kailua. We always lived off base. My dad never really liked living on base for some reason. Probably because it was nicer to live off base, actually. But
yeah.
yeah, Kailua was the go-to for at least like 7 years, I think. And then after that, we moved to Kaneohe. Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. And now you're in New York City.
And now I'm here. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah, I've never been. I've never been to the Northeast. The farthest east I've been is Florida, which is Florida.
Right.
I would love to visit New York and like DC and all that.
Yeah, there's a lot up here. I mean, it's its own thing. Technically, this is really an interesting fact, but New York, before, I don't know when this happened, but due to weather changes, we are now technically a subtropical climate in New York City, which is by far the craziest thing I've ever heard. But also weird. Kind of cool.
That is weird.
I'm like,
is it because you guys get hot? Because you guys get kind of hot in the summer, right?
yeah, it gets really humid and hot here. I mean, because we're right by the ocean, but
Mhm.
the summers gets up to, we've had like 90 days a couple this summer,
Wow.
but since we've been indoors the whole summer, it's been actually kind of nice. We've just
Mm.
been chilling, you know.
Mm,
Sweet. Let's kick it off,
mm.
Brent. Did you write? Brent usually writes all the intros. He's like the producer, man. So I just like follow his lead.
Levi. Um, yeah, except, okay, yeah, anyway. So, welcome to the 19th Sickled podcast.
19.
I wish I had some
Wow.
info on you, Spencer. Um, I do know you went to New York for school. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And I've seen a few things that you've posted, and they're freaking amazing.
I know. I
Um,
love it.
the last time I'm excited about this one because the last time I talked to you was probably when you're here, and you were trying to find your voice as an artist, and I feel like you have come into that now, so I'm really excited. But yeah, welcome, Spencer.
Thank
Spencer.
you.
Since
Um,
um since we didn't prepare anything, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the things? I know you're not one to brag, but besides going to school out there, what are things that you've done, or what are things you're currently doing in your career?
Sure. So I graduated from a conservatory of dance about 45 minutes upstate in New York called SUNY Purchase, which was a really, really incredible dance program.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea what I was doing when I went into it, really, but like I just went and did it, and then found my way to New York City. Since in the city, I danced for several like modern dance contemporary companies, which is like a totally different industry than what I was training with 24/7 to do, like which is like
Yeah.
more commercial
Yep.
stuff. But in the city, modern dance companies, uh, several ones, Mad Boots Dance, which is an all male gay dance company, and then
Nice.
Brian Brooks Dance, which is this really cool, really interesting movement company. And he calls it Brian Brooks Movement Company because it's not really like dance, although it is, but we like
Hmm.
really break down the physics of dance and try and
Wow.
understand it in our bodies in a movement dance kind of way with music. So it is dance, but it's like not, but it's movement. Um,
Yeah.
you know, like when you talk about like the non-commercial dance world, things get really abstract and strange and weird, and I
right.
feel like that's
Yeah.
one of them
I love it.
for sure. And then
Interesting.
in 2018, yes, 2018, I started working at the Metropolitan Opera in the ballet, which was really, really, really fun.
Wow. You jumped
So,
from, contemporary, or, like you said, commercial, to modern, abstract, and then now you're into ballet.
I mean, it's not like ballet. I'm definitely not like doing like 5 pirouettes like with pointed feet and like anything
Okay.
like that. It's like ballet for opera, so it's a little different.
uh,
We take ballet all the time, but we're
Mm,
not necessarily like doing ballet on stage because we're like in like one scene of like Carmen, like doing like
mm,
a flamenco step, and then all of a sudden we're like gone. But
mm.
the check's great, and I'm like, I'm
Sure.
not mad about being like on stage with like these amazing singers. Like that's
Wow.
like really crazy.
Wow, that's great.
so
I'm so glad that Chelsea nominated you, because that's what we're kind of doing now. It's like the last
Cute.
person we have is gonna ask or call out the next person, and it's kind of a luck of
Ooh,
the draw for whoever responds to us on Instagram, because we reach out.
for sure.
We're grateful you did, and
yes.
um, yeah, it's really exciting to have you here, just because of your time with us in Hawaii. Chanel and I absolutely love you. We were hung out, I think, like right before you left, also
Yeah.
to go to school, which was special, and to be able to see your journey as well from our perspective was cool. And lastly, I think it's just great to have another path of dancing to come out of the training here in Hawaii that
Yeah.
people can see and to imagine. I think we cannot become what we don't see. And so to see someone like you do what you do, be passionate about it, be compensated for it, and not even just the money. It's just like you're just doing it. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me, you guys.
Of course, thank you. So we're gonna hit you up with some warm-up questions. So
Let's go.
you just gotta just off the dome. You can't think about it.
Okay.
What's
This
your
is
favorite
like
food?
abstract, like modern class. Okay? Like you don't have to explain why.
Yeah,
Just be a tree.
yeah.
Okay.
Just be a tree.
Got it.
What's your favorite food?
First thing that came to mind is ramen.
Anything
Where? From
specific?
where?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys.
Because you've been in
okay,
Japan and you live in New York, arguably
Okay.
two of the best places that have the best ramen. So I guess
You
you
are
did kind of
not
have to think.
wrong. You're not wrong. Let me tell you right now, my favorite place is still this one in Al Moana Shopping Center that I don't know the name of, but I know where it is, and I always knew how to get there in my car, but I never knew the name. But it's my
Where? Where
favorite.
is it?
It's on the bottom floor. You know when you
Gomate.
go Mate.
Wow. Interesting.
That's the one I
Nailed
was
it.
thinking too. I was like, Gomate. Gotta be Gomate.
Nailed it. Probably doesn't have the best ramen, but you know, everyone's specific to like their own flavors.
Yeah.
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 Whatever.
Nice.
You-
Japan and New
nice.
York, and you still choose Hawaii. That's what's up.
I choose Hawaii. I choose Hawaii every day.
Oh, I love it.
All right.
Okay. Oh, you got another one loaded?
Go ahead. I know you got some.
What is your favorite dance move?
Oof. I have to say like oh. I don't know why I went like straight for ballet. I'm like, I feel like it's like the easiest thing to like name like a term.
Sure.
I do love like a panche. When
Nice.
Okay.
I don't know if I can explain it. When you're standing and then you're do you know panche?
No,
Anyone?
Yes.
please illustrate for me.
This is really gonna be this is not gonna be cute. But when you're like you're standing, you gotta take your torso over and like one leg goes up. And you're still standing on the other.
I see.
Like a panche.
Man. I'm having visions of the we just watched like the latest World of Dance, and there's
Yes.
that awesome black guy who's from New York actually, and he works at McDonald's. I was like, I really wished he went a lot further because he was just like his lines and he was so good, him and his partner.
Work.
You got Brent.
What's one of your best memories starting off as a dancer?
One of my best memories starting off as a dancer. This is funny because I feel like this was a moment for me that really kind of like changed me as a dancer. We were, I guess, setting Mark Kanemura's chess at 24/7 and for the concert strategy. And I had really admired Mark for just being such a unique voice in Hawaii before he had even gone to LA. He felt comfortable enough for me to be myself around and gave me a lot to look up to. And when we had auditions for like who was going to be what chess pieces and everything, I was like, I'm going to go for this. And the role that I went for was like this really gay, like really flamboyant bishop who ended up being like second to the queen, who was Kupono. And I was like, I'm gonna serve something. So I literally just took my arm over my head, made a platter, and I just went around and started picking things up and like putting it on. And everyone was like, yes. And having that moment where like your group of peers is like, go off, that is great for you. I think that really was like a huge moment for me to be like, wow, I can feel good about this too. That's my favorite dance memory, I think.
I love that. I know
That's
we're in the
dope.
lightning round, so I want to come back to that. I have a question about that. Remind me if not, because we're in lightning round. But so let's
Okay,
go to
I'll keep it
something
quick.
more. Okay. No. I mean, you don't have to keep it quick. I just want to make sure I get in some of these other ones. But what's like your favorite guilty pleasure right now during COVID? You know, it's like some people like chocolate, some people like, you know, XYZ. What's
Uh-huh.
yours?
My favorite guilty pleasure is doing makeup on myself. It's
Nice.
my
Which look
favorite
fierce, by
guilty
the way,
pleasure.
on your feed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I just started it, so I'm having a great time and loving it.
Yeah, it's dope.
What about it do you like? I can imagine, but I'd love to hear for you. Like, what is it about doing makeup in general and on yourself
Um,
that is gratifying?
Getting to like really play with who I present as, I think has been something really fun because I always have like how people view me, how I view myself, and those things don't always align in ways that, you know, are difficult to manage sometimes. And in that way, I feel like I can really shape who I want someone to see me to be or look like, and let it be fun too at the same time, because I don't want it to be serious all the time. Although like I may be a serious expression, I'm like, the makeup could be fun. You know, that's what I like.
That's cool. I love it.
Okay.
What's
Nice.
Oh, you got one, Brent?
Should we make this the last one then?
Well, I kind of want to know what you're binging on Netflix or Hulu or whatever, but
Yes.
Great question. I have a couple because quarantine has been a lot, pandemic situation has been a lot. So I've seen it kind of all at the moment. Currently watching Lovecraft Country on HBO.
Thank you.
It's dope.
You watch that, Brent? What is it?
Hell yeah. It's so dope.
It's dope.
Why? I don't want to pay for
Because
HBO. I'm ghetto, man.
Go ahead, Spencer.
No.
Tell me why you love it.
It's basically, well, I'm here for anything where Black people are getting a moment, and right now they are having this moment, and Lovecraft Country is turning it out because we are getting to see these stories of these amazing people do amazing things in a sci-fi adventure horror moment, which I don't really live for a horror, but like it's giving me spooky vibes that I'm into, which is great. I'm really here for it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's spooky, but it's not that spooky.
It's not that spooky. It's not scary.
Yeah.
I mean, when that like ghost woman was like on the bed.
Spoiler alert.
You know what I'm talking about, Brent? When that woman was like the bed, I was like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
her jaw was like,
Yeah.
that was it for me. I was like, I'm scared.
I know. I get scared easy too. I don't like scary movies, man.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay, do the
what
last
else
one
have I
then,
been
Brent.
doing?
Oh,
Huh?
you have another one on Spencer?
Yes, Drag Race. Because I love makeup, I gotta
Yes.
do Drag Race. And there has been consistent seasons since the beginning of this year, new seasons, which has been really exciting. And me and my partner absolutely love it. So that's what we stay watching.
Shout out to your partner. What's his name? His or her name?
His name is Brandon, and he is an incredible person. He's from Texas. He's a dancer. We met at the Metropolitan Opera, and we currently live together in New York.
Oh, it's so sweet. Shout out to Brandon.
Shout out Brandon.
All right.
You got that last one, Brent? Oh,
okay. Yeah, no, that's good.
That's good, right? I feel like we're warmed up.
Yeah.
Good job. You survived, Spencer.
Thank you.
All right. So how did you or briefly kind of tell us like how did you start dancing?
I like always put on shows in my house. Like when Britney Spears was playing on TV, I just like recorded it and like learned it and just like performed it for my family. My dad built me like a weird like curtain and lighting and stage in our house, and like that was everything to me.
That's dope.
Cute.
And then found 24/7, and then just hit it up.
Wow. How old were you when you kind of like remember like performing? Like, do you have a an age where you're like, around this time is when I was like all about it?
Remembering, I definitely was in Hawaii at the time, but I also remember like the desire and like before we got to Hawaii too. But definitely in Hawaii is where it like really started to like come to life.
How did you find 24/7?
That's a really great question. I just started going to the shows at Castle, and it was like walking into like a place where people could be themselves, but then like also be like famous. Like I remember like I remember watching like the Vela Bailey sisters and being like, okay, these girls are Britney Spears in real life but fiercer, and that's definitely what I want to do. I was like, these girls they're giving me everything. Chanel also was giving me everything. Yuri, Sasha Colby, and I was like, I mean, I love boys. The boy dancers are 24/7 too, but the women of 24/7, they turned it out, and I said, oh, definitely need to be there. Definitely need to be there.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a special time, man, when all those dancers were there. I feel like yeah, that was a special time. I don't know if we'll get a special time like that, but that season of dancers and time was just like incredible.
Yeah. The talent level was like out of the roof.
It was insane.
Yeah.
Were you attending school in Kaso or Kaneohe in that area, or
where did I go to school? I was going to, at the time when I started 24/7, I was going to the Waldorf school in Kahala, right?
Yeah.
I mean, left side.
I have no idea.
I think you are the only person that I know that has ever said that's gone to the Waldorf school, because I've seen it so many times. I'm like, who even goes there?
Spencer went there. That's
nice.
What's funny is that my freshman year of high school, when I actually did start 24/7, I was going to school at Damien Memorial High School.
Catholic schoolboy.
I was a Catholic schoolboy, St. John Vianney in Salt Lake. I was at St. Anthony's Parish School. That's where I did middle school. And after that, I went to Damien. And then after 1 year of Damien, I was like, I love Catholicism and everything about this, but I think I'm just going to like take a moment to like figure out what's true to me. And Waldorf really was going to give that. So my mom was like, yeah, we should do that for you.
That's so awesome.
That's cool.
It was fun.
So 24/7, you went to concerts, saw what it's about. And before that, did you have any dance training, or that was like your first form of dance training, 14 years old, Waldorf?
Yeah. I didn't have any dance training before that. I actually was a 2nd degree black belt in Taekwondo.
What?
Yeah, I trained at this, as soon as we moved to Hawaii, I started training in Taekwondo at this studio in Kailua called the Shaw's Martial Arts, which I think now is called Martial Arts Company. And it taught me so much. It gave me flexibility, strength, I did it for 6 years, and then I went to 24/7.
Fascinating. Another martial artist turned dancer.
Uh-huh.
I love that, dude.
I sometimes forget about that, to be honest. I'm like, what?
I can't, because my sabonim was like crazy. So, and he liked to brainwash us about certain things, because he was like ex-Marine, and yeah, he was a lot of crazy, but he taught me some great things.
What'd you call it?
Sabonim.
Is that like sensei equivalent?
Yes.
In
yes, in Korean, yes.
Weird.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so how was that transition? I mean, a lot of people who do formal or athletics or formal training things, it's a lot easier to transition. Was that the case for you to enter into that?
I think it was a little easy. Let me tell you right now, my dancing from the beginning was a struggle at 24/7. Like a couple first
Tell
concerts,
me.
and actually no, actually the realty is like for the first like 7 concerts, the dancing was like
No.
wah, wah. And then we got like a little better, you know, and then just but the I think it helped a little bit because when I was at Taekwondo, we would like have the studio to ourselves. We were like a bunch of kids kind of like running that place, which was cool. Like my best friends were always there, but we would just like put on music after like the studio was closed. And we would have like forms. So we would like do like these like I like choreographed like Taekwondo routines, and that's like all I wanted to do. You couldn't get me to spar. You couldn't get me to put on one of those I don't even know what they are called. Those like jock straps, but that have like the cup. I was like, I'm not sparring. I'm not doing that. I'm like, I don't want to fight anyone. This is not me.
That's
This
a
is
good
uncomfortable. Right.
The
And so I
totally
was like,
opposite of me.
I was like, I'll just stick to the forms where it's basically just dancing, but it's still Taekwondo. So then I guess that might have helped me a little bit understand movement, but the syncopations, the rhythms that like people were throwing out at 24/7, like the groove, I wasn't really ready for. I could see it, but I don't think I really like understood it for a very long time. I think I'm still finding it actually.
I remember the first time I saw you at the studio, and I was like, who is this skinny kid? Like, he's super flexible. He reminded you, I know everyone said this, but you really did remind me of Orlando Ortega. And it's like, this kid is like, there's so much potential there, especially because he got like flexibility down. Like, it's not even fair. Like, who is this kid?
That's great. That's awesome.
If only flexibility made up an actual dancer, though.
Seriously, right?
If only.
That's one of the things like I love about dancing. It really is. It's one of those things where like what, at least in my opinion, what makes a dancer good is not only the technique. It has to be an incorporating of everything, like the connection with the music, the confidence in one's personal identity, and then the technique is what allows that to shine forward. And so I really believe you can't fake it in dance. It really is one of those self kind of like what's that, when you self-discerning kind of a thing, where it's like if somebody has that, you can't deny it.
Oh
You
yeah,
can
Spencer had that fire in his eye. He had that
Yeah.
fire in his eye every single time.
Yeah, you could be doing line dancing, and if you believe it, like I'm in. If you believe it, like I'm totally in with that.
I love bond dancing.
There's some of the Japan.
Yeah.
They're so cute. I used to love that.
That's awesome. Okay.
So when you started dancing, go ahead, Brent.
Oh no, I think
like,
we're on the same question.
Yeah, so like when you started dancing, you started going, you transition out from Taekwondo. You get to do forms. In my head, that's like the equivalent of kata in karate. Forms. Yeah. So you're in the forms, but then you transition, you go to a concert. Like when you're there, and you said it took like maybe 7 years to get to a place, which I love, because I think a lot of times we don't give ourselves long enough of a time frame to become good. Our expectations are we sign up and we should be good. So I like that personally. But what about it in that 7 years where you like, when did you know like, oh man, this is it? Like, I love this.
I think I always knew that I loved it. I just didn't know if it could be like a viable career path for me. And I think so many things ended up coming into play with that in the long term, which is why I think I ended up turning away from the industry and moving more towards commercial concert dance.
Sure.
But yeah, I think from the beginning I was like, I've always loved this. I still do. Now it's a little different.
Yeah.
It's a little different,
How
but
how is it different?
my body has just been through a lot now,
Interesting.
and it's not like it's at least with the training that I received and the work that I continue to do in the concert dance world, it's not always fun. Like it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of brain power, and it's a lot of testing what your body can really do. Whereas in the commercial industry world, it's a lot of either tricks and or someone telling you what to do, like the exact steps of what to do, which can seem easier in certain ways, and also it's a lot harder in some ways too. But
Sure.
I think my body has like really, I wouldn't say it's traumatized, but like it definitely like has been through a lot of work to get to where I needed to be to become a professional concert dancer.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, the conservatory that I went to right from 24/7,
What?
it just was shocking to me. Like I had to take ballet 4 times a week. And then, I mean, my days were filled from 8:30 in the morning until 10 p.m. at night, like rehearsing things that I didn't even really understand yet. And I had gone and just like did it. And looking back, I would have made so many different decisions in college because now I know, but at the time I really didn't. And I wish I had someone who I knew who was on the same kind of like page that I was, but everyone was already in the world and I was just so new to it, which was really crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was fun. It was fun. It was hard. Very hard.
Brent, I want to let you get one in before I ask the next one. Did you have a question on that one?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So when you were dancing, and you always knew that this was kind of it for you, but the main concern was the the viability of like making a career out of that, which is fascinating to me. Also, it connects or makes me wonder like what your parents thought, because it seems as though your parents are very supportive from the very beginning. And so that's always kind of like an issue when people start thinking about future and whether or not something's viable. But it seems as though like both your mom and your dad were extremely supportive of your development. And so I guess like what were their thoughts, or what are their thoughts towards you and your career and your journey?
Yeah, my parents were always great supporters, either financially and or emotionally, always there. No matter, I'm an only child, so like they didn't really have a choice. But yeah, it was interesting because I think they always knew I would find what I wanted to do, and I think that they also allowed me to be. They allowed themselves to be patient with what it was going to be. I mean, there was a minute there. If you would have talked to my mom when I was in my teenage to about to go to New York, she was like, I don't know what this child is doing because he is a hot mess and all these things. But she knew that I would find it. She knew eventually that I would find it. And I think she's still seeing me find so many things, which is crazy to think that at 28 years old, I'm still finding the paths. I know that's going to continue to happen, but
never.
So many people's careers, right, totally. But so many people's careers just like have a moment where they just like really start and they can like drive it for a long time and stay on that road. Whereas I feel like the true Gemini that I am, I'm like consistently just like opening and closing doors to like either to like check, see if I can go in and do it, or like fully just like step through and go.
Interesting. That's cool. That gives me hope. At least both of you. I always get self-conscious that Levi is an only child, and like you guys give me hope for my only child. I don't know, man. I don't know. So old already.
Whatever, dude.
Spencer, like when you're talking about you know, that one time you were auditioning for Mark's chess piece as a bishop, and you thought, I'm gonna be this like flamboyant gay bishop, which is one of the things I love. You're very vocal about your you know, equality and things like that, which is wonderful. When were you out at that time? I guess that's what came out. That's what came up when you were answering that question. Is like, were you out, and were you like, what about that was so signifying to your identity as a dancer, if that was one of your earliest memories?
Yeah. I don't think I was out at the time. I think it was about to happen. I think maybe 6 months after that, or maybe close to a year after that, I did eventually come out. It wasn't like it was a unknown fact, because it was very clear the minute that I opened my mouth that I was gay. But but yeah, it took time. It definitely took time, and that moment for me is so special in the dance world, because
Yeah.
it allowed me to be me and to express like the deep parts of my queerness that hadn't yet been able to be shown in a place where they could be loved, accepted, and celebrated.
Yeah.
And in that moment,
difference.
yeah, it was all three of those in that one moment, which I think really changed.
Oh, that's cool. I just got goosebumps,
Good.
man.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think that's what like the dance community has a capacity to do. You know, I think that's what like dance has a capacity to do in general for each practitioner of whatever discipline they do. But I also think that's what's so special about Hawaii, which is why we're doing this podcast. You know, it's like a lot of the culture that's been cultivated here in our small little island, like, man, provides that for so many people to discover themselves and come into themselves. And man, that's such a special story.
And I think to piggyback on that story with Chanel, we had company auditions one time. I think this is also like equal importance dance moment for me. We had company auditions, and you have to create like a solo, right? And being a teenager, I was like, I'm in my angsty feelings. Like, I'm gonna go with like a song that's emotional and do a contemporary dance because I feel like but I did, and in that moment, it was Mark, Marcelo, Chanel, and there was one other person there who I can't remember at this moment. Forgive me, whoever you are. But I remember Chanel was like a little emotional, and she was like, you really have something special about you. Like, there's something really unique. And she's like, I want you to always remember to embrace your uniqueness. And those words coming from her, which is why I feel like I have such a special bond with her, is because she saw me for me, and then also saw the potential of me. Like, I feel like she just saw a full circle of me, and to have someone be that for you is really special. And then to have Mark and Marcelo there to also talk to me in that way was like also really huge.
Wow, man, that's special.
It's dope. It is amazing.
So good. I wish she was here. She would love it.
I know.
We'll get a Zoom or a FaceTime with you ourselves sometime.
We will. Also, she's watching, so hey, Chanel.
Okay, so kind of pulling in that time frame when you were at 24/7. Do you have a maybe embarrassing story or like a hilarious story?
Yeah, we live for the embarrassing.
Yeah, we love
exposing. That's
Something
actually the real purpose.
Yeah. Something that no one would know unless they were there. You know what I mean? Like backstage or just
rehearsals.
Yeah.
Marcelo.
Okay, this is. You guys, I really wish I could bring the comedy right now.
It's okay.
I only remember this because it was crazy, but in one of my last shows at 24/7, I don't remember what concert it was. I was playing like the God of Death in like this like Once on This Island remake. It was like a live concert.
Oh.
And the last day of the show, I woke up and I was sick out of my mind. Like I was throwing up. I couldn't move out of my bed. And I was like, I don't know what's going on with me. Like I have a show to do at 3 p.m. today. Like, Marcelo is counting on me. And I don't know what to do. So Noelani Pearson comes, picks me up, takes me to the Polygood Theater. I am outside, sitting on the ground in the hot sun, puking. Like
No.
absolutely sick. Absolutely sick. I go into the green room, lay on this black leather couch, which felt disgusting to me. And Marcelo comes in with all of my costumes.
It's still there.
I'm sure it is. And Marcelo comes in with all of my costumes, straight faced, like absolutely just like no emotion. And he goes, "Can you do the show?" And I'm looking at him feeling like the sickest I've ever felt in my entire life. No thanks to a spam musubi who really got me with food poisoning the night before.
from 7-Eleven.
No, we're gonna have to thank the aunties at the front of Polygood Theater for that one.
Oh, nice.
Shout out all of them. But he ended up putting my costumes down, and I said, "Okay, but you're gonna have to have a bucket in every single wing before I go out, because I am absolutely the God of Death right now. I feel dead." And I ended up doing it.
With buckets?
I ended up doing it with buckets on the side stage.
Buckets.
Damn, that's insane.
That is insane.
It was wild.
Talk about the show must go on.
Oh, we don't have understudies at 24/7. You're playing a lead in a concert, like, and you get in. I'm like, the fact that none of us got crazily injured, or like,
crazy.
it was. I'm like, that does not fly in like the real world. Because I'm like, you're sick out one day. They got a replacement, and they're doing it just as good as you, if not better. And here you are, 24/7, hitting the one step that only you know how to do. No understudy.
It's so true. So true.
No understudy.
We've tried understudies at one point. We tried and like, oh, okay, you're the understudy, but then you just end up being in the number, so it's not really an understudy.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love that though.
What were some of the like some of the experiences or the way you've been shaped, at 24/7 or in Hawaii that has like shaped the way you engage dancing or your training up there right now?
Sure. Marcelo taught me a lot about choreography. He maybe not like this is how you do this and blah blah blah, but through experience and his direction and his anticipation that everyone should be on the same page as the director and the choreographer and the other dancers, and to have the counts and to know your spacing, like those things were very set in us at 24/7, which I couldn't be more grateful for. But also, let me tell you right now, people in the professional world do not have that sometimes. And it, as a pet peeve of mine, drives me absolutely wild, because I have become the Marcelo in me now, and I'm there like, I'm like,
so
you don't
funny.
know your stuff? You don't know your spacing? I'm like, you're getting paid for this. I was like, I wasn't getting paid at 24/7. And I knew my stuff.
That's so funny. Awesome. He's like a
That's so
Yoda.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's funny.
He is a
like,
Yoda.
He's kind of like at least the way I understand like apprenticeships, because I'm into like bonsai, but I'm always like learning about how, people go and train, and it's less kind of like formulaic, and it's more kind of like observance. That's how you learn.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then it's so
for sure.
fascinating to hear you say like the inner Marcelo in me. That's funny, dude.
he's
Great.
he's always there. He's always there.
That's so funny.
Yes.
He's our unicorn. He's kind
He's
of
our
like the
unicorn.
culmination. We're gonna
Yeah,
get him on here.
he's super special. I definitely would not be. I mean, I don't even know where I would be if Marcelo didn't have 24/7. Without all the information that I got from him, like, I don't know.
Yeah. Dude, tell me, I'm like so curious. I want to know more about like, the performance world or the concert world that you talk about. Because like
Sure.
the metrics is so different, right? The metric of how you measure, like the effectiveness or the like how people like or enjoy what you do. It's like it's different, right? And I think
Right.
it's evident in like contemporary things where like a lot of the metrics is how fierce you are, which
Sure.
is it's so boring to me now personally. Like
Yeah.
I don't care how fierce you are. I want you to believe what you do,
Right.
and to me that's what sells me personally. It could just be me getting old, but I'm imagining, even though we're making fun of like the abstract and the modern, I feel like there's such a more visceral, a more deeper like connection that makes something good.
Sure. Yes. Learning about the history of modern dance was really eye-opening because obviously I had like learned about music videos. I learned about Broadway, like television, dancing, all those things. They're very face value. Like you're getting exactly what someone is wanting you to get in that moment.
Yeah.
And with the pioneers of modern dance, they really were questioning why it is that we do things the way that we do them and how we do them. There's people like Yvonne Rainer, who is a modern dance choreographer, who had a just a complete like total destroying of form to like Western ballet forms. And she was basically just like, we don't need to dance like this. Like we can dance in pedestrian ways and just like make shapes with our arms and like have that be its own kind of form of dance and have it be just as valid as anything else.
Cool. Where is she from?
I don't know, but she did make work and still does make work in New York.
So the movement of modern dance is American, or it starts in America?
Yes.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Mostly in New York, but there's like also people who started out in California too.
Sure.
Like Lester Horton and Anna Halprin. But like the different sects of modern dance are so different from each other. Like there's like Martha Graham. I'm sure you've heard of Martha Graham.
Yes.
She's this. She was choreographing like in the I want to say like 40s and 50s. I'm like really terrible with my dance history, but I'm dropping it here for you.
Sure.
In the 40s and 50s, and her work was all based around like Greek mythology, and on stage it was women with these like really like tight high buns with like this really slick makeup, and it always had like phallic statues on her stage, and it was always about like and the technique that she ended up building was Graham technique, but it's all based on the contraction and release of basically your pelvic floor. And she made up these entire exercises that allow you to like move through space in like certain kinds of ways in relation to each other. But she has this really famous solo called Lamentation Variation, where she's in this like purple kind of like circle scarf, but it goes down to her legs, and out to her arms, and she sits on a bench, and it's like to this really like sad piano, but it's all about the struggle of like this woman like connecting to like this deep sorrow that she has. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Lamentation what? I'm gonna look that up.
Lamentation. I think it's just called Lamentation by Martha Graham. But that company did a bunch of variations on that idea.
So she was doing
then,
Kegels before it was popular.
Oh, these Kegels are like the most powerful Kegels you could ever do in your entire life. Like these were life-bringing Kegels. Like she loved it.
Oh man, that sounds so good.
It's cool, and the history is just like there's people who trained with her then became their own thing, like Merce Cunningham, who is basically modern dance but with like ballet and like shapes and forms and like how to like articulate the body in space. It's just really cool.
That's awesome.
It's all so different.
Yeah, that's great. What's a typical week look like for a dance professional in your industry, like for you?
Sure. In a typical week, I would be having either class in the morning from 10 to 11:30, and then running to rehearsal from 12 to around 4. And then I would probably go to a either performing job that I had or go to like a secondary like nighttime job.
Jeez.
Yeah.
When do you hang out with your partner? Oh wait, you work with your partner.
Yeah, we did for like 3 months, but that was actually becoming like a little bit of a problem in the beginning of our relationship, because I was like, I want to spend time with you, and he was having his own schedule and I was having my own schedule. And he was doing this show called Sleep No More that is like probably the coolest thing you will ever see in your entire life if it ever comes back in New York City. It's an immersive theater show set in like a 6-story like warehouse in Chelsea based on the story of Macbeth. But it's through the lens of like film noir, like 1930s, and everything is like sets. It's like sets and lighting and costumes, and these people are like, you can follow them and like walk with them, and it's probably the coolest thing I've ever seen. But he had that schedule.
That's cool.
And that was at night, and I would be like rehearsing during the day, so that was really hard. But we would find time, you know. You just do what you do until you can find more time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dang.
And so like if you go ahead, Brent.
No, go.
Yeah, so like if you think about like your time, your career now, what you're doing, and you think about, 16, 17-year-old Spencer worrying about whether or not this is a viable career option, what would you say to yourself?
I would say that any career option is a viable career option for you. It's just a matter of commitment. Because if you commit to it for long enough, it will happen.
Wow.
But like a deep commitment. Like you have to like it. You have to love it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't give anything, it doesn't really give a lot back.
Interesting.
I mean, in some ways, like with relationships and people, and those things are great, but the physical act of dancing sometimes doesn't give much back, for me, at least in my experience as a professional.
Yeah. That's fascinating. That's so good. I love that.
So since COVID I'm sure things it changed a little. What did you what did you do to like maybe keep yourself motivated, or creatively, how do you keep going? Maybe physically, how did you continue to work out?
Yeah. I took a pause. On dancing, and I said,
it's like, I'm not dancing. I'm going to do makeup. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was like, it's not happening for me right now. There are no opportunities. Like,
Mhm.
I was like, I'm gonna take a pause. I'm gonna find something else that's gonna fulfill me just as much in a new way that's gonna be exciting that I can present and still also work with other people on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not that I stopped fully dancing. It's just that I had a moment to reevaluate what dancing meant for me because it means different things for everyone. And dance for me really became a job because it's really what it had to do. And in an industry like the concert dance world, it's a lot of really hoping that what you're presenting out there on that stage really resonates with critics, with audience, with choreographers, with
Yeah.
everything. And because as a modern dancer, you want to be recognized for the work that you're doing. I mean, you're the only person who dances like you in the concert dance world. Like, no one else is doing the steps that you're doing the way that you're doing it. And if you're not getting picked up in the way that you want to in the concert world, it can be very like, I don't like, you could feel, I don't think this might be right for me, or I don't know if this company that I'm dancing for is really good for what my body actually produces, or is this fulfilling for me? And then also, am I actually performing this well? So asking all those kinds of questions really had been on my mind for a while, and then COVID hit, and I said, okay, we're gonna take a step. We're gonna rewind, go back to the basics of why I want to be a dancer. And I think that really was brought alive through improving, because when I improv, I really get to be me in a way that like jobs don't necessarily always let you be. And I feel the most free. And as a dancer, being free to me feels like the best place and that I can work from and create from. The sense is having real freedom within my body and not being so restricted.
Yeah.
So I really had to find that and work to find it too, because it didn't come easy. It took me a minute.
Man, that balance, from like expression and exploration, and then also making a living out of it. It's almost like it's imperative that you have your why settled in place, and you regularly take times to reevaluate, like, what is it for you, and how is it that it's working for you still. That's
Absolutely.
That's so hard, but so worth it and so good.
For sure. And I feel, especially because it's only my third year as a professional in the city, that I'm still so young in the career path, that I'm not young personally, but in my career path, I'm pretty young. Like, yeah, because I didn't find this until like 5 years ago. But yeah, just having a moment to just be like, okay, if I'm gonna continue to do this, I gotta know why.
Yeah. What I mean, if you think about that, as we're gonna try and wind down. We definitely have to have you for round 2. But what does the future look like for Spencer in dance? Like, what does that look like for you? And by the way, you are young sir.
Yes, you are.
You ain't old, homie.
No, I mean, I'll tell you right now, turning 28 in 2020 was.
Oh, I know.
It's a step for me that I was like, okay. I was like, but also because dance is my body is my livelihood, and as a dancer getting older and doing concert work, it's so demanding that I question. I'm like, how long can I really do this for?
Yeah.
Which is dependent upon what I do for my body, workout, yoga, all those things too.
Thank you.
But your question was,
what does the future look like for you?
What does the future look like?
5-10 years, maybe more.
I don't know, but I think the one thing that I've always known is that I'm just continuing to go with the flow. Whatever flow that is, and whatever comes my way, and whatever things inspire me to make something or not to make something, or to take a job or not take a job, I'll just continue to flow with, because it's led me here, and it's led me to so many great people and so many friendships and so many things that I don't want to say what the future will be, because it's going to be great, but I don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I want to be a choreographer. I want to be a director. I want to be a photographer. I want to be a makeup artist. I want to do it all. And I know that's not going to happen. But the more that I continue to pursue those things, the better chances are that they'll happen. So I'm just going to keep doing me.
I wouldn't say it's not gonna happen because, like you said, I think if you commit to it, like you said, if you commit to it, you never know. And I think it's great. I think it's great that you talked about flow, because I think that's something hard for a lot of people to kind of grasp, or even to stick with, because everything is so planned. Like I have to, in
Right.
this amount of time, I have to. Where
Right.
I think it's great that you see where it leads you, but you run with it. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, I think that speaks a lot to me too, because that's how I am. I'm just like, yeah. I don't know where this is going, but I like it, so I'm
Right.
gonna just do it. You know?
Right. Right.
I'm gonna just do it. Yeah.
And
It's
I think
interesting.
I do think ahead though, even when I'm in a moment of flow. I'm still always thinking like, okay, what will this bring me? Who does this connect me with? What can I go from there? I think those things are always really important to continue asking yourself, even if you are trusting the flow.
Yeah, there's like an interesting, some people will talk about where there's like a naivete. There's an initial naivete and then there's a second naivete. A lot of people in spiritual talks will talk about this, where like the first one is more so from ignorance. The first naivete is more so from ignorance, whereas the second naivete is kind of like this fullness and freedom to allow life to happen.
Right.
And I like that, because it doesn't mean, at least the way I'm hearing you two talk about it, doesn't mean you don't give a crap about the future and you're being reckless. It's actually, I have a lot of confidence in the trajectory, and I'm committed to the future, that allows you to be free in the way that you are. But that's hardly taught to people. So that sounds cool.
What is one piece of advice that you can give someone that's like starting off or thinking about starting of dancing, or is dancing and thinking about making a career? What is one piece of advice you can give someone?
I'm gonna give two. My first one is to definitely just stay true to yourself. 100%, because that's what's gonna make you the most you, and then people are gonna see that and want to work with that. My second piece of advice to someone starting out would be to always remember that the bridges you build with people are going to lead you to where you want to go. And if you don't hold on to them and cherish them and or nourish them, they won't be helpful to you. They'll be a hindrance to you. So always knowing that there are going to be people who either help you get jobs and or don't, but it's really your choice about how they come into your life and make that happen for you.
So good. So wise. Good. So wise at your 28-year-old. I want to know about photography. I'll ask you that for the next one. I love taking photos.
I know, there's so much to ask you.
So much, Spencer.
So much.
It's so cool to see you. It's so cool to hear about what you're doing, to hear about a little bit more about what makes you you. It's so important, so necessary for people to hear. for people to see, and people like you give other people permission to be themselves. So thank you, my friend. So cool to spend this time with you. Really appreciate this time.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think it's great to see, to being able to see where you started from, to see where you are now, and like, yeah, just taking glimpses into what you do. For me, it's like super exciting. It's like, it's really amazing to see like your growth as an artist and as a person. Uh, it's just really, really exciting. Yeah.
Thank
Where
you.
can people follow you, follow your journey, or learn more about you?
I have an Instagram. Spencer James Weedie. Weedie spelled Weidie, a little complicated. And then I have a photography Instagram, Spencer Weedie Photography. And then
Thanks.
I'm pretty sure I have a website for my photography. I think it's just www.spencerweediphotography.com. But follow me on any of those platforms, and or just check it out for one day, and that's cool too.
I love it. So good.
Yeah.
Before we leave though, you gotta call out. You gotta give us. Oh yeah, tell him, Brent.
So you have 3 people, one that's maybe not in your circle. Mind you, these have to be people from Hawaii. So
Okay.
someone that you might want to see on this podcast and hear about that's not really in your circle that you would love to kind of learn about.
Okay.
The second one would be somebody that maybe is in your circle. And then the third one, we leave that one kind of up to you.
You guys, you gotta ask me these beforehand. I'm bad on. I am bad.
What? We gave you kind of
Okay.
a warning in the beginning.
You did, but then you chatted me up. I forgot. Okay. Okay, the first one who's not in my circle from Hawaii, okay, let's start like this. I don't know Orlando, and he has been a name that has come up since my very beginning time at 24/7. So I'm gonna throw that one out there.
Nice.
My second one, someone who is in my circle. Oh, I love my circle 24/7. This is the first person who came to me. I'm gonna go with Kalani.
Oh.
Because I don't think he's dancing anymore, but to have the perspective of someone who dances now doesn't anymore might be really interesting. Also, I love him to pieces, and he has a baby and a wife who I adore. So I would love for you guys to interview him. And then a random one, let's pick a dancer. Let's go with Wiley Yoshimura.
Oh, wow. Wiley.
Because he is also a really huge inspiration for me at 24/7. Huge.
Why? How?
Probably one of the most amazing, incredible dancers I've ever seen in my entire life. And also unapologetically himself.
Right.
Absolutely. From the beginning.
Yes. Dope. Oh, man. Okay.
We'll see who bites.
Yeah, we'll see who bites. But thank you again so much for taking time out for us and sharing with us. And like Larry said, we definitely got to have you on for round 2 because there's too many things.
So much.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I love it.
But thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thanks, Spencer, and thanks everybody for listening, for being here. We see you guys on the next one. And I don't know what they do in the modern world. We tell people point their toes, but what do you guys do in the modern world? Bend your elbows.
It's like just like flex the foot. Just flex it. Just leave it flat.
Yes.
And everybody, remember, flex your foot.
Thank you so much, you guys.
All right,
Thanks,
thank
Spencer.
you.
Good to
Thank
see
you,
you.
Spencer. Nice to see
Good
you.
to see you guys too.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.